And we are live. We're back, Bish, after an interesting week 9 in fantasy. Not one I want to ever remember again. In all my leagues, I've been shocking. All my picks have gone down horrendous this week. So yeah, I'm a bit upset, Bish. But how are you?
I'm the opposite. I think it's been a great week. The 4 live games we had to watch on Sunday were very good, but the reaction away from them, which probably took the headlines, and 2 quarterbacks I think we'll speak about later as well. I got the fantasy win over my brother, dominated him, to be honest. 144 points I racked up. So yeah, I'm chasing tag at the top of the league. So yeah, it was a decent week for me.
Yeah, I think you've nailed it this week. Your expertise in that draft's, I think, paying off, and you've made the right trades. Other than some people, not looking at myself. I think the trades you've made have all pretty much worked out for you, Bish. Which is obviously using your knowledge over the 10, 15 years you've watched the sport into action. Yeah, I wish I could take some of the look. I got 68 points. Rounded, just had a shocking week. Michael Thomas 0. My bench did quite well. I've talked about Jackson Smith and Jigba slowly breaking out. We obviously put it on Instagram, and I didn't play him myself. I thought I'd take the consistency of Michael Thomas, and that one didn't work out for me. And otherwise, yeah, just a tough, just a very tough week. And yeah, I need some of my people I've traded for, who I traded for when they were injured, to start coming back, or I'm slowly losing my playoff spot, Bish.
Yeah, what are we in? Week 9 now, so there's still a fair bit to go. It is getting a bit tight, as you said. I think one trade I'd like back. I got rid of Mostert pretty early to Isaac. I'd like that one back, if I'm honest. I thought he would be an injury casualty, and he's proved to be very good. But I'm just having a quick look at the league table. Group 7. You know, Matty Grimes, we had him on last week on the show. He's slowly creeping up that table. I think he's won 4 in a row now, 4 on the bounce. He's up to 3rd. And we've got Jordan Lane making his 3 games on the bounce as well, making a push for that for those playoff spots just behind Bassey and yourself. So yeah, and Sam. You know, Sam said he needed to go on an unbeaten run from here till the end, and he's 2 in a row at the minute. So yeah, it's interesting. You know, week 10 coming around the corner. Hopefully, well, again, more players on buys, a few quarterbacks back. So it's getting to that tense part of the season where it's starting to matter now, and the trade deadline's creeping up as well.
I know you might see me a bit active. I don't really know what moves I want to make. Cause like I said, I've got a couple of running backs sat there in my injuries, and otherwise I've just got a bit of an underwhelming team. Like you said, Devonta Smith's been up and down. He did well. He did all right this week for me, but I really wanted him to take that step up in that Philly offense. And I think instead of him taking that massive step up, AJ Brown's just solidified himself as probably nearly the best I'd say on this season so far, the best wide receiver in the league. So yeah, didn't quite work out for me. And some of my others, Saquon Barkley's not been quite up there on a really bad New York Giants team. So yeah, I might have to try and make some moves, Bish, but I don't really know where I can go. Don't know if you've got any advice or want to give me any, but
I think you definitely quarterback in there. I think, did you have Daniel Jones this week?
Well, that was I think so.
So I think that's definitely a need. I'm just trying to get your team up and have a quick look here, to be honest. Obviously, there's been plenty of chat, Group 7, talking about Cole Kmet. That's maybe we could trade back for him.
Yeah, I should have. Yeah, that's really not worked out. really, not worked out. I shouldn't have dropped him. I should have just kept him in. But yeah, I thought Dalton Kincaid worked out for me week 1, not worked out for me this week. So yeah, a few moves, a few things to learn from, but hopefully I can finish out the season strong. But let's get into it, Bish. A few things to talk about, especially on this one. We've got the injury report. I'll start off. Another running back casualty, Bish. It's getting serious. It's getting to be honest, crazy beyond any years I watched NFL before. Cam Akers has done his Achilles, out for the rest of the season. And quite sad one, really, I'd say, after obviously his time at the Rams, being up and down, not quite working out for him there at the end. He really started to pave his role out in Minnesota, and it's, sadly, season ending. I don't know where he'll go from here, but in terms of fantasy, it probably just means Alexander Mattison notches them couple of points up again. But as we've discussed many times, sometimes when you don't have that person taking some of that workload off, it negatively affects you. It gives you that top end, it gives you that bottom floor a tiny bit higher, but that you're less explosive runs, less chances for like them big plays because they're doing so much work. So, tough. They've had a tough year, Minnesota, haven't they? And another bad bit of luck here to go with it, Bish.
Yeah, and it's doubly bad for Akers as well, because as you spoke about, he did his right Achilles with the Rams, rehabbed really hard, got back for the Super Bowl, and then obviously he's done his left Achilles the weekend, so that's tough. And we talked about Minnesota, like you said, they don't really have a run game anyway, so yeah, it just means I think Mattison will get a bit more. If anything, it might just put a bit more pressure on Dobbs, and the wide receivers get a bit more work as well. So yeah, that's a tough one for him. Can he come back from another one? I guess we'll see. Obviously he worked hard to get back from the first one, so hopefully he can get himself back and get himself back on a team.
Yeah, hopefully, bad luck, and wish him all the best on that recovery. But Bish, who's another season ender, I think.
Yeah, we just spoke about him, Daniel Jones, the quarterback for the Giants, and it was a funny one. He was under pressure. He stepped up in the pocket, and his knee just buckled under him. I'm not sure whether it was the field or anything like that, but yeah, it's been reported his ACL. He's done his ACL there, so that's obviously season ending, and probably a massive blow for them because he's just been paid a new contract. He's on guaranteed money next year as well. So, they'll be hoping they can rehab him and get him back for next season, for the start of next season. And it's for the Giants. We talked about, them being bad. Tyrod Taylor's currently on injured reserve with a rib injury as well. So, it is going to be left in the hands of Tommy DeVito, and his backup is Matt Barkley at the minute. So, it's not, and I believe they play the Cowboys next week as well. So, Joe, there you go. The Cowboys defense. There's your points. That's a big one for you. So yeah, it's not looking good for them. Again, this time of year, is it a case of let's just bail out? Let's just try and get a high draft pick and see what happens. So yeah, they've obviously also got Darren Waller on injured reserve as well. So it is literally Saquon Barkley. Can he pass it to himself? Maybe we might see that happening.
Yeah, we might have to see some crazy things from Saquon, but at this point in his career, I think it'd be tough for him. He's not quite as explosive, not quite as make the big plays. So I think I don't know where the Giants go. There's a lot of rumors on Twitter about them drafting a quarterback and already putting that contract to waste that they've signed Daniel Jones on, which would be crazy. We've seen crazier things happen in the NFL, but it's a sad one for the Giants. I don't think they should have given him the contract, but you can't predict an injury like this, sadly. So it's all irrelevant at the end of the day. And very interesting season for the Giants upcoming, as this one's been a write-off, really, hasn't it? Other than that, Bish, I've got one more. I've got Dallas Goedert probably going in on the injury reserve. I just thought I'd mention it, is obviously the tight end issues this year have been real. It's hard to get anyone. We've seen, I don't know if he's coming up later, but obviously Travis Kelce having a rough week. We've had loads of tight end injuries and not much quality. And just another one who was Dallas Goedert, who's been having an okay year, down to maybe we'll see Albert up when he. I can't even attempt Big Alberto, who I liked who I liked at Denver, and I'm hoping he gets a shot. I just thought I'd give him a shout out as he's made some big plays in the preseason, and hopefully he gets carves a rollout for himself.
I'll give you some props for attempting that surname. I was just going to go with Albert O. So yeah, at least you had to go.
Yeah, I wish I didn't, but no. But yeah, on to the next one, Bish. I'll let you start. We've got fantasy flops. Who's your fantasy flop for this week?
My big fantasy flop for this week is Devontae Adams. Multiple reasons, really. One, we spoke about it heavily on the Best Bet show. You know, new regime. Well, not a new regime, but coach sacked, GM sacked. A bit of fresh air coming into the building. We expected a big game from Jacobs that we got. We didn't quite get it from Devontae Adams. You know, he went for 4 receptions on 7 targets and only 34 yards. So he had a relatively quiet game. The passing touchdown went to Jacoby Myers, and just a double blow for us. You know, he was the one that we couldn't get for Tag's touchdown treble as well. So, you know, double reason there for him. But you know, I'm pretty sure he'll bounce back. You know, game script as well. It was a bit of a one-sided game when Daniel Jones got injured. So hopefully, for those fantasy owners of Devontae Adams, he bounces back next week.
Yeah. What else have I got to say? Yeah. The one shining light is that if you look at a lot of the videos on Twitter post game, it looks like Devontae's the leader of that locker room. Him, Max Crosby, obviously Josh Jacobs. But when Devontae spoke, you could see the whole room stopped and listened, and he really has a big influence on that team. So yeah, I don't think. Hopefully, I don't think it'll translate season long. Just to, like you said, a tough game script. Josh Jacobs had all the fantasy points in the world. So yeah, but no. What did you think of them videos after Bish? Now I brought it up.
Yes, I've seen them. It's like I said. I think, you know, when you go on a bit of a negative run and it's it seems very the players weren't behind the coach. You know, the coach came from the Patriots, which is old school, sort of old fashioned. And as we're seeing, you know, it's not those coaches are coming out of that organization are struggling elsewhere. Maybe it's modern times. Maybe, you know, they haven't got Tom Brady, so it doesn't work. So I think there's a bit of that going on. There was obviously a massive rift, and now, like I said, it's like a fresh start. A new coach coming in, as you said, a coach that they all like, that they all know, and it's just a fresh start and breeds confidence into sort of a fresh group, hearing a different voice. And after you go out there and deliver a performance like that, you know, big win. It sort of kickstarts the season again, you know, and I don't think they'll make the playoffs, if I'm honest, but it just breeds a bit of confidence into people. They come out of the shell, and hopefully, you know, they can kick on for the rest of the year.
Yeah, couldn't put it better. I'll go on to my fantasy flop. I've got Bijan Robinson, 4.9 fantasy points, 51 rushing yards and a fumble. Crazy what's happening at Atlanta. I think the whole NFL world is against them. That I think they've been branded the villains of this season, as Arthur Smith there decides to do plays that involve Jonnu Smith and everyone else, but the stars of the show, the Kyle Pitts, the Bijan Robinson, the ones everyone wants to see. He doesn't seem to create any plays for him. He seems to look the other way. Whether it's clearly a game plan, it's worked in a couple of games, but it's also in games like that the weekend where it didn't work out. Jonnu Smith didn't get the touchdown when it should have been a pretty easy one on a end around. Yeah, you want to see Bijan in them red zone moments, don't you, Bish? Getting them carries, and it's like Arthur Smith's got a thing against the fantasy world and don't want to give us what we all want to see.
Yeah, definitely. I think that must be it. He's definitely not a fantasy player, is he? Or he doesn't own any Falcons fantasy players, definitely. So it's just it's just seeming a bit unorthodox. Obviously, you're seeing Tyler Algier take carries off Bijan, and as you've said there, Jonnu Smith off Kyle Pitts. So I don't know what's going on there. You know, I still think they're a good enough team to try and get in the playoffs, but other than that, I'm not sure what's. It seems like they have all the ingredients, they just can't put it together. You know, I'm putting them in that sort of them and LA Chargers in the same sort of bracket where they've got they seem to have it all. It's just maybe it's the coaching just not quite there.
Yeah, well, I think he's got. If they don't make the playoffs, I think he'll have a lot to answer for because, like you said, he's not giving his young players a massive go, and then he's also obviously. I think if you do that, you've got to see results, and at times he's been heralded, and like you said, last weekend and a couple of others, as it'll get louder if them losses keep piling up. But Bish, takes on your second fantasy flop.
My second one is Geno Smith. There's the Seahawks quarterback. He racked up 3.68 fantasy points in the punt this week, and from a quarterback, that's just a killer. It's just pretty much a matchup loser. And it's they got pretty much dominated by, well, they did get dominated by the Ravens here, 37-3. Through one interception, he lost a fumble and only 157 yards passing. So it got ugly pretty early, and it was all one way since then. But it's a massive one for the Seahawks, I think, because they actually just on the trade deadline, they sent a second round pick with some others, I think a fifth round as well, to acquire Leonard Williams from the Giants. So that they were strengthening, I'm presuming, hoping for a playoff run. They were top of the NFC West for a week, and they turn up in Baltimore and get put to the cleaners. So yeah, it's a massive one for them, and obviously Geno Smith owners in fantasy this week are definitely hurting a little bit.
Yeah, I think I've got him in one or two of my other leagues, Bish. Obviously not in ours, but it didn't make a difference for me. But yeah, I was disappointed. I picked Seattle to pick up an unlikely win this week, and all got put to the sword very quickly after I think after the first hour of watching. It were all over. Fair to Baltimore, they're legit. But yeah, I think it's just them. I think the only Kenneth Walker. It zaps the whole offense. Jackson Smith and Jigba getting some points, but this should be a high-powered offense. And whether Geno Smith's I think they're doing it with a quarterback in Geno Smith who's probably, without being too harsh, probably not that dude. But he's got a very good team around him, and they can get away with it. They don't have to put. Obviously, it's a salary cap sport that a lot of people never really discuss. And when you've got a quarterback who normally takes up most of your salary, that's competent, and you get the team around, it's sometimes a better way of doing it than just giving, obviously, millions and millions and millions to your quarterback and letting the rest of the team suffer. So, but yeah, with well, it's you, Bish.
Cheers.
with everything that's going on, I think it's tough on it's tough on Geno, but he has to step up. They're a very legit team now, and without him stepping up, it'll all be to waste. Seeing as he's obviously the quarterback, the most important position in all of sports.
Yeah, definitely. And like you said, they obviously think they're in that playoff hunt. Like I said, they're battling it out at the top of the NFC West with the 49ers. So, I think they need a little bit more from him.
Yeah, definitely. Bish, any other players who didn't suit up this week who you're not happy with?
I think that's, for me, I think that's it. But I could possibly throw in Jamar Chase. But watching that game, he had, there were some tough contests, some tough catches. I think he only racked up 4.1 fantasy points this week. He was under 50 yards catching, so that I'd possibly throw him in there. After a few massive games recently, that was obviously a dud. I own him in another league, and I was expecting a bit more from him there.
Yeah, and I'll do the same, but I'll chuck in DJ Moore. Obviously tough when they don't have the starting quarterback, but as the wide receiver one on that team, a player who's been having a pretty good season. Sad to see him only get 43 receptions and 44 yards. But Bish, on to the good news. Your section takes through Bish's breakouts.
I think my player of the week, and his stats suggest MVP level, if I'm honest. But that's a conversation for another day. But it's got to be CJ Stroud. I think he's unbelievable game. 39-37 win. I think he had 45-ish seconds on the clock, 75 yards to go, and he's he's put him on his back, and he's unbelievable game. 470 passing yards, which is a rookie record. 5 touchdowns thrown. His touchdown to interception ratio on the season is 14-1. He's from those saying before the draft leaking that his IQ wasn't great, why he slipped from the 101 to the Texans. I don't know what's gone on there, but that test is not fit for purpose. He's an unbelievable player, and luckily I had him on my team this week with Trevor Lawrence on buys, and I think he's staying in my team if I'm honest. Unbelievable performance.
Yeah, completely with you. I think that's the main thing I'm proud about this season. I've got a lot of things wrong, but I think earlier on I was talking about how good this CJ Stroud was. Same with you, Bish. I think we both discussed it very early on in the season, didn't we? How we were hitting the passing lanes and was just had a very good vision. And we were discussing how Bryce Young got picked before him, and just like you said, he's. I think I saw a stat that his stats are matching up to Tom Brady's best ever MVP level season. Like you said, that interception ratio, some of the things that he's been doing, just crazy. Sadly, they don't have the team yet to back him fully up. But wow, if they get a couple of good draft picks and a few free agent signings, now they've got the quarterback. As you know, it's the same in rugby, Bish, isn't it? Once a star player goes to a team, everyone wants to go, or if a star player emerges, people then want to go onto that team, and I think they'll find it much easier in free agency from now on, and they won't have to pay the massive money they have to some of the other players to join now. They'll be coming on discounts, wanting to play with CJ Stroud.
Definitely, and that's the beauty of NFL. I think it changes year to year with a salary cap, and a rookie quarterback that good on peanuts, let's be honest, on his rookie deal, you can load up elsewhere. Like you said, they're a bit off. They're 4-4 at the minute. They've got Will Anderson on defense that they can build around as well. In a division which is, the Jags are stepping up, but other than that, it's up for grabs really. So watch out for them. Hopefully they make the right moves, and they're a force for the next few years.
Brilliant. I'll take you through my one. It's one that's come up on the show a couple of times, for better, for worse. Worse for myself. Once again, it's a bad show for me. I've got Cole Kmet. I've got to be honest, when you get things wrong, you've got to own up to him. And as we spoke about, I traded for him, dropped him, and signed Dalton Kincaid. Well, Cole Kmet's just laughed at my face with a 6-reception, 55-yard and a 2-touchdown game. We've discussed before, haven't we, Bish, saying that how the normally rookie quarterbacks rely on the tight end a bit more, big body, a safe bet when they're open to get the catch, and obviously a big frame to aim for. And Cole Kmet's had a fantastic game. He's looking like he could. He's looking like he could be one of the top tight ends going forward, Bish, with the injuries, with everything going on, with some of the big bye weeks going into next week that we've got coming up. He'll be up there as one of the top tight ends on that'll be out there. So a bit upset. Got to own up to my mistakes, and if I could keep him, I would have done. So, Matty Crimes, give us a message on the group chat. I know you'll be laughing your head off at this one.
Yeah, that's it. And whenever I see Cole Kmet do something, I just think of Matty Grimes and his little chuckle from the podcast last week. So, I think I think Justin Fields will be back pretty soon. So, maybe he'll go back to DJ Moore. But, Cole Kmet, like you said, in a tight end market that's pretty sparse at the minute, you'll be thinking it'd be one of the top ones to have on your team.
Yeah, right, Bish. Let's move on quickly and go on to.
I'm keeping with the quarterback theme here, and I'm going to go with Josh Dobbs. What a story this guy has had. So he's been on 5 teams in 2 seasons in the NFL. Obviously, he started the season for the Cardinals. Started brightly. On a team that wasn't expected to do much. Sort of died out a little bit, and then on the deadline, he's been, obviously Kirk Cousins' injury, he's been traded to the Vikings, and he's literally arrived on Wednesday, not taken any snaps with the starters, straight into the game book. And then early on in the game, the starting quarterback for the Vikings, Jaron Hall, goes out with concussion. Up steps Josh Dobbs straight into the action. And again, another game-winning drive late on, 31-28 win. And they're currently in the playoff position. So, he literally, you could see him on the sideline practicing his cadence and his snap with the center. He's literally not had any snaps with the offensive starters. I just think that's unbelievable. And just what a guy, just steps in, takes it all in his stride. He didn't start too well. I think he fumbled, but then he just went into beast mode, just took the team on his back and delivered in the clutch when it mattered. So I'm looking forward to seeing what he can do. He's going to get a run. I think he'll be the quarterback from here on out till the end of the year. So, and he's in a better team. I'm looking forward to see what he can produce.
Yeah, what a player! Like you said, I think you've covered it nicely. You could see on Atlanta, Atlanta. Sorry, yeah, no, not like my brain this morning. Yeah, I think you could just see though he was just the man. One, he looked like he's always got a big smile on his face. He's always flying. Yeah, Bish, what a player. And practice them videos again on Twitter. I was on Twitter a lot this weekend, apparently. But on Twitter, the cadence and all the little videos and all the stuff that are coming out that he wanted to give the rookie quarterback all the benefit of nailing this game, so he stayed away from doing anything with the first team. So it was just completely new. Everything about it were new to him, and he stepped up and won the game. Wow, what a player, what a man.
Yeah, he's been it might be a good find for the Vikings that propels them into the playoffs and keeps them there. So yeah, interesting.
Very interesting. I'll take you through my second one. I've just got and Josh Jacobs, 98 yards and 2 touchdowns. We obviously touched on him earlier, but yeah, what a game! What a game for Josh. I'm quite happy. I've mentioned this one because I've took the piss out myself with Cole Kmet. I thought, well, if you watched the betting show at the weekend, I actually predicted 2 or more touchdowns for Josh Jacobs, and he needed this game, Bish. It's his proper breakout game. He looks happy. All the videos were amazing, and it looks like I think going forward, it'll be in that top 5 running back conversation once again.
I definitely hope so, because he led me to victory this week as well. And yeah, like you said, he was the man last year. Not much has changed. A coaching change, that's the biggest one, obviously. And like you said, they look good. That confidence is flowing. The change is sometimes works, and it certainly did this weekend.
Brilliant. Basically, any others you want to give a brief mention to?
Honourable mention, backing up the CJ Stroud, I'd say Tank Dell. He had a massive game, 114 receiving yards, 2 touchdowns. So yeah, it's you can pick your poison with Texans at the minute. Tank Dell or Nico Collins. It's a great young core, isn't it, there with wide receiver quarterback. So yeah, Tank Dell put up I think 25 plus points this week as well.
Brilliant. Yeah, we'll on to the next section, Bish. And I think a tough one this week. We've got the waiver wire pickups, the punt projects. I'm struggling for a project this week. I've gone a bet talking about my tight ends and how I think Kansas City are on bye this week, Bish, and a couple of other big tight end names will be on bye, and so that's why I picked up Cade Otton. He was the tight end 3 on this week. I know I don't want to go short term here, but it looks like I think he always has a few good couple of get over the last year or so. He has a good game every so often, and hopefully he can double back up it again. And have another good game or give you that floor that the tight end market simply does not always give you this week. And so I've just got Cade Otton, but I'm not happy with the waiver wire pickups. I think everyone's going to start to be looking towards the benches and looking for them depth that they drafted, that they may be, as like me, a Jackson Smith and Jigba or others where you've not looked at them all year, but I think it's now time, Bish.
Yeah, definitely. And just the 4 teams on buys are the Chiefs, the Dolphins, the Eagles, and the Rams. So if you look at that, that's, Mahomes, Tua, and Hurts, 3 big quarterbacks. We've talked about quarterback injuries in the show this week and previous week. So that's where I'm going this week. And I've spoke about him already as my star of the week. Josh Dobbs, I think now he's a must own. I'm just looking at is currently owned by 20% on the Sleeper app. So I think that's going to be massively increased after that performance at the weekend. And just quickly, his next 3 games before the bye, he's got the Saints, the Broncos, and the Bears. So the Broncos and the Bears, bad defenses. The Saints will be a bit tougher, but yeah, he's got a good 3-game stretch there. And as I said, he's in a team with some good weapons. So that could be. I think he needs to be owned if he's out there.
I like it, Bish. Any others? I don't. Like I said, I'm struggling this week, so you take us through another.
I've got an honourable mention of Keaton Mitchell, the Ravens running back. It was a bit of a blowout game, so he got some snaps. Usually, obviously, it's Gus Edwards who also had a big game. But my other one is probably for owners who I'm just thinking like the punt. I'm 7-2, so I can afford to sit a little bit and maybe put someone on my bench for the playoff run. Is I'm tossing up Leonard Fournette here. He's actually owned in 35% of sleeper leagues, which is quite a big percentage for someone who's not played yet. But just looking at the Bills again at the weekend, they just can't run the ball. Josh Allen was there leading Russia with 44 yards. James Cook had 20 yards. And he's called Lombardi Lenny for a reason. He comes hot at the back end of the year. So I think the timing's there. If you can afford to give up a bench spot and have him sit on it, he might reap the rewards later on in the playoffs.
Yeah. What actually on that base? Are you putting that down to the offensive line of the Bills, or the James Cooks, or the others that are on that team that just, I guess, aren't stepping up, or is it the offensive line not being good at rushing?
I think it's the running backs. If you look this year, they tried with James Cook. They're throwing in Latavius Murray. Damian Harris, obviously, he got injured last year. Still Devin Singletary, wasn't that guy. James Cook I think James Cook will still get some work in the passing game, but I think they just need some more options for Josh Allen. I think there's still a wide receiver short. I think they should have traded for someone, which they didn't. So I just think they just need more options. Josh Allen's having to do everything. If they can get a decent running back in there who can, it might be the offensive line as well a little bit. Obviously, they need to help, but a big body like Leonard Fournette running downhill, you're going to have to account for him. And if you do account for him, that opens things up for Josh Allen. So I think it works both ways. But I think he can come in and do some damage.
Brilliant. And then the fun one, Bish, we've got the punters. We've got the best kicker of the week. Who you going with?
Well, it's an interesting one this week. I'm going to pronounce this and see how we get on. Dare Ogunbowale for the Texans. So he's actually a running back. He's Fairbairn went off in the first half.
Yeah.
And I saw him at halftime practicing his kickoffs. He's done a kickoff. And then actually with late in the fourth quarter, he's come on to kick a field goal. It was I believe it was 28-all. He's kicked a field goal to put them up. And running backs kicking field goals, I don't think I've seen it before. It probably has happened before, but nothing that I remember. In such a crucial moment in the fourth quarter to deliver, he's played. I think this is his 7th season in the league, and now he's been, now he can say he's kicked a field goal. I don't think there's many running backs who can say that.
Yeah, I think I saw the stat on Twitter coincidentally. I think it was 2007 since it happened, Bish. So yeah, it's been probably long before I've watched the NFL, long before a lot of people who probably watched the show watched it. So yeah, it was a luxury, and what a kick! He looked up. He might have to if the running back doesn't work out, he's got another career as a kicker, and he for a couple of years.
Well, that's it, and it's testing other kickers now. If you're missing from point blank in front, and there's a running back over here slotting him, you know, there's going to be some questions to be asked.
There will be. There will be. I look forward with mine. I don't want to top that. That were brilliant. So I'm just to say Jason Myers, it's for the Seattle Seahawks. I think they'll be looking to make a big impact this week against a really, a much poorer Washington defense than Baltimore's. And I think he'll get a lot of kicks, a lot of field goals, and a couple of extra points on a few touchdowns. I think a big bounce back week, and I think Jason Myers will give you the benefit and that high end on the kicker market, especially on that waiver wire.
Nice.
But yeah, Bish, anything else you want to mention going in, or are you good? Where's your head at going into week 10 of the NFL season?
Week 10, I'm looking forward to because I don't have to sit and watch a bad Rams performance. So, you know, they're on the buys. I can enjoy the other games. So, yeah, looking forward to that. What about you? Anything?
Just what a good week. I think I lost in pretty much every single league I'm in week 9, Bish. So it was a really bad week for me. Like I said, I drafted a lot of Saquon, made some other trades in my other leagues that haven't worked out. So I'm on a bad roll at the moment. So I just want 1 week that I can just sit with the cigar, and after that first 40 minutes, I know I'm guaranteed that win, which is obviously what everyone wants. But yeah, I think I need it. I've had a couple of bad weeks now. I need a good win. So yeah, if you're watching week 10 on Sunday and you know some of the players that are on my team, you'll be laughing or you'll be wishing me luck, I think, depending on how you like me on the show. But yeah, all good, Bish. Take us through your finish, your Bish, and let's crack on to week 10.
Yeah, please subscribe, like, help us share our content. You know, we're on all the socials. Plenty more coming from us. Like you said, we're here for the long haul. So shout out to the fan on Twitter who's been getting into it. And unfortunately, Devontae Adams let him down. He threw Odell Beckham Jr. in there to make it a quad for the touchdown treble. So that's great. Any best bets for the weekend? You know, stick them in the comments. And let's get into it on the best bet show later on in the week.
Brilliant, Bish. Been a pleasure as always, and I will see you for the best bet show later in the week.
See you then.
See you, Bish.